This is not about sound, but hearing and listening. Hearing as a way of thinking what it means to be human, a subject, a self in the world. Sound has its name, a car, a gunshot, a voice. Hearing and listening, what I call audibility, has no word. It's a relationship between consciousness and the surrounding world. Even more, it is a relationship with time, the foldings of memory in any present experience. Examining how audibility has been written into films, we find a difference in these two words, hearing and listening. There is the rational man who listens and the intuitive or irrational woman who hears. In Ingmar Bergman's Through a Glass Darkly, Karen infers God from the sounds of birds and voices behind the wall. Recovering from treatment for schizophrenia, Karen is convinced that what she hears is real, even as her male family members call her sanity into question. J.A. Bayona's The Orphanage centers on Laura, who hears what she understands to be a paranormal thud in the moment. The tragedy comes in her listening again in recollection in a way that discloses the tragically real as a newly gathered understanding. As with so many such examples, the sound does not change, rather the character's hearing does. These audibly rich films go beyond cinema's objective-subjective conceptual divide to inject ambiguity that shakes the relationship of self and world, belief and understanding, madness and sanity. One way to conceive this audible relation is Heidegger's notion of Befindlichkeit, translated by Macquarie Robinson as state of mind, or by Stambaugh as attunement. Befindlichkeit describes the way in which one finds oneself in a situation. Thrown into the world, we are already in a condition of being in and relating to that world. We have a mood we bring to a situation, as we direct our future self along the possibilities of being affected. Eugene Gendlin brings a psychological reading to Heidegger's concept, describing one's implicit awareness that already has its own understanding. Psychology is a discipline of nameable emotions, as Gendlin writes, but he says that Befindlichkeit describes instead a nameless implicit feeling that knows its own understanding. There is a particular mode of Befindlichkeit to hearing that one cannot see. This unseeing state gathers and imagines what cannot be known. We find such audibility prevalent in the horror genre. Heidegger's Befindlichkeit marks a distinction between fear and anxiety. Fear is directed towards what is specific, what is known, we might say what is seeable and nameable. Anxiety is nonspecific, a feeling of being exposed. Understandings slip away. The effort is less about identifying a threat and more a confrontation with the world as it is and what cannot be known. In anxiety, there is no image. To overcome such threats, the archetypal woman as victim must disallow the threat that audibly surrounds her and turn to face what is heard. We find this in Jennifer Kent's The Babadook. Throughout most of the movie, the monster emerges in unseeing hearings, while the mother, Amelia, exists in a state of anxiety, suppressing her own frontal relation to it. At the moment she becomes possessed, she is bodily turned away from it, in a state of unseeing. Unseeing is not blindness, but an incapacity to see what currently sounds, engendering a visual separation, or we might say in psychoanalytical theory, a lack. The turning point in the film happens when she finally turns her body toward the monster's body in full view. As Kaya Silverman writes through her readings of Lou Andrea Salamé's Looking Back, therapy lies in the turn toward. In order to go forward, to look ahead, we must first confront the broken associative connection. We must turn around, face what we have left behind. To catch a killer in Silence of the Lambs, Clarice must move her body through the horror of audible signs that signal things she cannot see. It is a spatial movement, but the attention is temporal and audible. Through her advance, she listens to the uncertainties before they give way to visual madness. Finally, her unseeing navigation is plunged into literal darkness, total blindness. The only thing that saves her is her instinctual response to the sonic event of a cocking pistol, a hearing she knows without needing to see. The threat is behind her, the power of a man with a gun pointed at her head. While she is blind, He sees through night vision goggles. Clarice hears and acts purely on affect, overturning the power relation by turning toward the shooter she cannot see. There is a theme to this position of knowing and seeing what the woman does not. Power is held in brief moments in which men attempt to capture what has become lost. This is also found in Klute, in which a man objectifies women by taping their voices and repeating the playback in private. At the formal level, the audience hears the sounds of these recordings layered over the visual montage. But at the narrative level, it is him listening, while at the same time Bree is seen going about her life. Shots of her spliced with what is commonly called voiceover becomes instead a kind of stalking. In the final confrontation, Bree is captured by her antagonist and forced to listen to his captured screams of his female victim. The tape as evidence is central as well in Blowout. De Palma's film also features a man who listens to recordings, but in this case as the protagonist aiming to solve a mystery. As John Travolta's character Jack repeats his playback, De Palma shows us his mind bringing forth the images of the past. Jack has no visual evidence and therefore no standard of proof, so De Palma gives him and us a split-screen visual recreation to conform to a visual mentality. He fulfills the common male practices of scientific, technological repetition rendered into visual form. His incapacity to make other men see what he sees is his failure, which leaves him isolated in conspiracy. Blow Up draws influence as well from Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation, another movie about a man who listens to technology. The reveal of the opening sequence in San Francisco's Union Square is that what the audience hears is instead a listening, coming from one man and from a particular point of audition. The odd treatments and errors of the soundtrack are revealed as technological issues coming through multiple microphones, which are being recorded to tape. Protagonist Harry Call repeatedly unwinds and plays back the tape over and over, repeating and analyzing his playback, listening for evidence. The reveal of the film is that what he thought he heard was wrong. The event didn't change, neither did the recording. His listening did, and because of this, so did his understanding. The difference here is that in the hearings and listenings of women, they are never in command of technology or evidence. They are receptive to what comes in hearing, which tests their sense of belief and understanding and incorporates rational doubt. They hear sonic phenomena, and their reasoning or sanity is called into question by the men around them. It's a common narrative trope that differentiates men and women during cinema's formative years of, say, the 1940s through the 1980s. Situations such as these are not the same as gaslighting, in which there's an intent by the man to directly question a woman's sanity for his own nefarious interests or his disturbed ego. Instead, cinematic audibility establishes a binary, a rational listening to evidence by men and a woman's sense of belief from hearing. In short, cinema norms of audibility present women who infer from hearing and men who refer in their listening. The former infers ideas from the imagination, while the latter refers to evidence to form knowledge. Knowledge is bolstered by repeatability, so technology aids the referential process and assures objective, verifiable, and scientific legitimacy. A woman's hearing is singular, dubious, intuitive, while the man places sound in front of him, masters his technology, and repeats the evidence.